For our second lecture, we're going to learn on ellipse. In this lesson, you're going to determine the equation of the ellipse, determine all the vertices, foci, major and minor axes, and also determine the center and foci of an ellipse by using completing the square. So you have two different types of ellipse. The first one is this. The second one is looking like this. Alright? So what is the difference between these two? First, we're going to look at the ellipse. So you notice that ellipse got vertex, foci and center. But it also got foci over here and vertex over here. So this is called vertex major. The vertex over here and over here is called vertex minor. For B greater than A, the formula to find C is C square equals to B square minus A square. So let's take a look at the center over here. So you have the center HK, and we can notice that H will stay the same. The distance between center and foci is C, and the distance between V and center is B. Okay? So the distance between center and minor V is A. So if B is greater than A, the formula will be C square equals to B square minus A square. So from center to foci, so it's going to be K plus C. From center to vertex is going to be K plus B. And then we're going to repeat the same process, but we're going to deduct it. So it's going to be K minus C over here and K minus B over here. So the equation of major axis will be x equals to h, and the equation of the minor axis will be y equals to k. For both shapes, the equations of ellipse are the same, and that is x minus h square over a square plus y minus k square over b square equals to 1. For example 4, we have to find the center and foci for ellipse x plus 3 square over 9 plus y minus 1 square over 4 equals to 1. And then we need to sketch the graph. Okay, we're going to compare with the formula. So x minus h square over a square plus y minus k square over b square equals to 1. So from here, we notice that a square equals to 9 and b square equals to 4. Since a is greater than b, we basically know that the shape will be something like this. Right? Okay, to find the values of c, so we're going to insert a square minus b square. So it becomes 9 minus 4. And the answer is 5. So let's start with center. So we're going to compare h with negative 3 and k with 1. So we get the center of negative 3, 1. So if A is greater than B, so we know that K will stay the same. So for chi, it's going to be H plus minus CK. So it's going to be negative 3 plus Z5, 1, and F negative 3 minus Z5, 1. You can leave your answer in Z form. You don't have to change it to decimal. So for V, so the formula will be H plus minus A, K. So the first major vertex is negative 6, 1. And the second one is 0, 1. Next is to sketch the graph. So we already know the shape. It's like this. So you have to make sure the coordinates are aligned. So the center will be around here. Negative 3, 1. And the foci is here. Negative 3 plus Z5, 1. And the vertex will be over here, which is 0, 1. Repeat the same process over here. It's negative 3 minus Z5, 1. And V over here will be negative 6, 1. Don't forget to sketch or draw your axis. So this will be your y-axis. And this will be your x-axis. So here is your ellipse. Example 5. We need to sketch the ellipse with equation 25x squared plus 16y squared minus 50x minus 375 equals to 0. So your first step is to bring negative 50x to the front. We're going to collect x together, so that it will be easier to do completing the square. So before you start completing the square, you have to make sure the coefficient of x squared is 1. So you're going to factorize 25. And the others remain the same. Okay, so we can start our completing the square. So in the bracket, it's going to be half of negative 2, which is negative 1. And then minus negative 1 square. Plus 16y square minus 375 equals to 0. Right? Sorry, I forgot to put the square over here. Next, you're going to expand. Okay, so you get negative 25 plus 16y square minus 375 equals to 0. Simplify to get this. So you know that the ellipse will be equals to 1. So you have to divide everyone by 400. So it becomes x minus 1 square over 16 plus y square over 25 equals to 1. So from here, we're going to compare with our formula. And we notice that our B is greater than A. So if B is greater than A, so you know your ellipse will be looking like this. And you also know that your H will remain the same. So let's take a look at the center first. So our center is 1, 0. So for the foci, so 1 will remain the same. Okay, but you don't have the values of C to start with. So you need to find the values of C. So how to find values of C? So C square equals to B square minus A square. So your C is cert 25 minus 16. And that is cert 9, which is equals to 3. So it's going to be 0 plus 3 and 0 minus 3. For the vertex, H also remain the same. So we're going to add B to the K. So our B is 5. From B square equals to 25. So it's going to be 0 plus 5, which is 5. And the other one is 0 minus 5, which is negative 5. Okay, so we're going to sketch the graph. So we already know the shape will be something like this. Right, so make sure the coordinates are aligned, roughly like that. So our center is 1, 0. And then our foci down here is 1, negative 3. Foci over here is 1, 3. And the vertex over here is 1, negative 5. And at the top, 1, 5. Do not forget your axis. Okay, so this is 1. So assuming that the y-axis is over here. And your x-axis passes through the center. There you go. This is basically your ellipse. Let's do example 6. So you need to find an equation of an ellipse with center 3, 1 and the major axis running parallel with the y-axis. Okay, so this is a very important information, yeah. Alright, so it also gives you the major axis is the length is 10 units and the minor axis is 6 units. And then you need to sketch the graph. Okay, so the center is 3, 1 and the major axis running parallel with the y-axis. So this is your y-axis. So if the major axis running parallel to the y-axis, so your ellipse will be looking something like this. Okay? And if the shape is like this, so we know that our B is greater than A. So it says here the major axis, the length of the major axis is 10 units. So you know from center to vertex, the movement, the distance is basically B. So the total length is 10 units. So B plus B is 2B. So 2B equals to 10, B equals to 5. Similar to the minor axis, so it's going to be A plus A. So that is 2A equals to 6. So your A is 3. So to find C, so it's going to be cert B square minus A square. And that will be 5 square minus 3 square. 25 minus 9 is cert 16 and cert 16 is 4. So we already know our center, which is 3, 1. So you know from the shape that H will remain the same. So for the F, H will remain the same. Okay, so the K, for the F you need to add up 4. So it's going to be 1 plus 4 is 5. And the other one is 1 minus 4 is negative 3. For vertex, V, H will also remain the same, but we're going to add up B this time. Alright, so it will be 1 plus 5, which is 6, and 1 minus 5, which is negative 4. So we already got our center, foci, and vertex. Next, we're going to sketch the ellipse. Okay, so let's draw the shape first. Okay, and make sure the coordinates are aligned. So the center is 3, 1. So our foci is 3, negative 3. And the vertex over here is 3, negative 4. At the top, our foci is 3, 5. And the vertex is 3, 6. Do not forget your axis. Okay, so if you notice that our A is 3. So our V minor over here will be 0, 1. So the y-axis basically touch your minor axis. Alright? And this is the one. So it's looking something like this. Alright? Last example on our second lecture. So you are given center of an ellipse is negative 1, 2. The minor axis is parallel to the y-axis. So this is the y-axis. So the shape is something like that. And the ellipse passes through 0.42 and negative 5, negative 2 over 5. Alright. So from this shape, so you basically know that your A is greater than B. Okay, so let's substitute center into our formula. So it becomes x plus 1 square over A square plus y minus 2 square over B square equals to 1. So in order to find A and B, we're going to use the two coordinates that are given in the question, which is at 4, 2. Substitute the x and y values. So it's going to be 4 plus 1 square over A square plus 2 minus 2 square over B square equals to 1. So this one goes to 0. So 5 square over A square equals to 1. So your A square equals to 25. Let's use another coordinate, which is negative 5, negative 2 over 5. So it's going to be negative 5 plus 1 square over A square plus negative 2 over 5 minus 2 square over B square equals to 1. And we already know that our A square equals to 25. So it's going to be negative 4 square over 25. And this one is negative 2 minus negative 2 over 5 minus 2 is negative 12 over 5 square over B square equals to 1. And when you solve this equation, you basically get B square equals to 16. Right, so we can substitute into the formula to get the values of x plus 1 square over 25 plus y minus 2 square over 16 equals to 1. But then the question actually asks for the general equation of the ellipse. So you need to expand this formula. So you get 16 x plus 1 square plus 25 y minus 2 square over 400 equals to 1. Simplify again. Move 400 to the right hand side. You're going to get equals to 400. You're going to expand in bracket. So this is x squared plus 2x plus 1 plus 25 times y squared minus 4y plus 4 equals to 400. Bring everyone to left hand side and then simplify to get 16x squared plus 25y squared plus 32x minus 100y minus 284 equals to 0.
Imagine me and you, I do.